from the Dvar part of Baha'u'llah, Chaf al Sibin Tavshin Chaf Tes. This mimer is a Mugedike mimer. So it starts off Baha'u'llah when you kindle, you'll raise up the candles. You look at the Torah. The Alter Rebbe's mimer look at the Torah brings down. The Neder is Heiman Neshamas. What's the candles that we're talking about in our parsha? It's referring to the Yidden's Neshamas. So the Alter Rebbe brings a proof. Where do we see this idea that neshamas are called candles? Classic thing, like it says, that the candle of Hashem, that's the neshama of a person. So we see a very clear passage that neshamas are likened to candles. So when it says Baha'u'llah, it means to raise up the neshamas, to kindle the neshamas, to put the neshamas on fire, etc. And then the Alter Rebbe goes on to say in look at the Torah, the 7 different branches of the menorah. These are 7 different kinds of Yidden in their avodah. Someone that serves Hashem out of love. That's the level. That's the level of kindness. It's called love. Is the idea that it draws like water, it pulls like water, etc. There's a love that's a flaming fire, that's a level of Buddha, etc. And so too, all the 7 midas, all the 7 attributes are the reason why there's 7 candles in the menorah. So now the Rebbe
12 shvatim, 12 different ways.
I can't hear you that well.
How you reconcile it with the non-concept?
With the idea of the 12 shvatim.
Yeah.
So that's a good question. I remember this being spoken about somewhere. I don't recall offhand. I will need to remember to look it up. If you could post a question on the WhatsApp, I will hopefully remember to look this idea up. Okay, so now the Rebbe Marash talks about the same topic, but he introduces a whole medrash and to support this idea that the candles are talking about the neshama, and the Rebbe is going to ask, why does the Rebbe Marash have to go so far to bring in this medrash and this whole thing? We have a very clear indication from the Chutei Torah that the candles are the level of a neshama. Let's see it further inside, line 6. The Rebbe Marash explains in the mimer entitled also, it was said 100 years prior to when the Rebbe said this mimer. In other words, the Rebbe said this mimer in Tavshin Chavtes, 1969. The Rebbe Marash said this mimer in Tav Reish Chavtes in 1869. She says the reason why neshamas are called candles. It's like the statement of the Chachamim. The Chazal say. Hashem says to a person, my candle is in your control, and your candle is in my control or in my possession. In other words, we each have collateral for the other one. I have something of yours, and you have something of mine. And the Eibishter says, if you take care of my thing that you have in your possession, so then I will take care of your thing that's in my possession. Explains as follows: my candle that's in your possession, that's up to you to take care of, that's going on Torah. See, like it says in the pasuk in name, mitzvah of Torah, that the candle is a mitzvah and the Torah is the fire on the candle. The light is the Torah. So that is Hashem's candle. And we have to observe and we have to do Torah mitzvahs. So therefore, this is something that's in our hands that we need to take care of. So he says, your candle is in my possession, is in my control, is for me to take care of. That's going on the person's nefesh. Like it says, the candle of Hashem is the soul of a person. And therefore, the Eibishter says, it's quid pro quo. Im shamartas nedi, if you guard, you take care of my candle, in other words, Torah mitzvahs, so then I will guard and take care of your candle, which is a neshama. If you extinguish my candle, in other words, you don't observe Torah mitzvahs, I extinguish your candle. So the Rebbe asks, like I was mentioning before, what is it important for this idea that just to prove that the neshama is like a candle, therefore it says baha'alotch means kindling the lights of the neshama. Why is it important to say this whole medrash that the Ramarash brings down? It's just enough to say like Alter Rebbe says in the Torah. When you understand the fact that the neshamas are called candles, because explicit in the pasuk, that's open. For that, you don't need the whole medrash. But why does the Maimer, the Rebbe Marash, feel the need, in addition to what Alter Rebbe brought? He says, here, let's bring this additional medrash over here, that my candles in your hands, and your candles in my hands. Then the Rebbe asks another question. This whole medrash that the Rebbe Marash brings seems to be difficult to understand. Also, when you understand the pasuk, it says that the neshama of a person is a candle of Hashem. We're trying to say that if you take care of my candle, the Eibusha says, if you take care of Torah mitzvahs, then I will take care of your candle, the neshama. But that's not what the pasuk says. The pasuk doesn't call the neshama our candle. The pasuk says Neir Havaya Nishmasadim, that the neshama of a person is Hashem's candle. Shaneshami Neir Havaya Medrash Anal Oymen Shaneshami Neir Chada Adam VaTorah He Neir Hakadosh Baruch Hu. But in this medrash it seems to go not what the pasuk is saying. It says seems to be saying that neshama is your candle, the candle of the person, and the Torah is my candle, the candle of the Eibush. Always base, top of the second page. Yes, the virus of the heck before become McCoymus. We can explain this by first prefacing what's explained in many places. The Indian baha'alotch. What's the idea of kindling and raising up the candles? That Aaron inspires and awakens the neshama that they should have the will to go up above. To such a degree that they should want to become subsumed and part of Hashem's very essence. Just like simply put, what happens when you light a fire, the fire rises upwards. The same thing that Aaron is raising up, baha'alotch, raising up the Yidden that they should have this desire to become one with the Eibush. So now he says, so what do you need Aaron for? This is seemingly something natural to every Yid. Though this will to become part of Hashem, that we are like a fire that's always rising upward, is part of the very nature and makeup of an neshama. Like it's brought down in the Tanya that about this, that Alter Rebbe says that every Yid wants to automatically rise up. That's why he's willing to give up his life for Hashem, and that's why that's the source of the concealed love, the innate love that every Yid has. The reason why neshamas are called candles, just like a candle, its nature is to go upwards and to become cleaved to its root. What is the root of the fire and the candle? In the general element of fire that's under the sphere of the moon, which is the location of the source of fire, the way it's in its most pristine and essential state. That's why fire rises upwards, because it's rising back to its root. So to the neshama is in the nature of rushing to go upwards, become part of its source where it was hewn out from. So therefore the question arises, if this is innate, if this is our nature, why do we need to have Aaron to kindle us? So it explains that. Rebbe goes on to explain in line 11. We still need that Aaron should raise up the candles, the neshamas, Because through the descent of the neshama down here below and becoming enclosed in the body, this innate nature of rushing upwards, of drawing upwards, becomes concealed through the process of becoming enclosed in the body. Like explained at length in the Bambara. One of the reasons why the neshamas of Atzilus are called human seed. The neshamas of Yah are called animal seed, like it says in the Haftorah. It says that they planted the house of Yisrael, Zera Adam, Zera Behema. So it says Zera Adam is the level of Atzilus, and Zera Behema is neshamas of Yah. Question is, why are neshamas Atzilus called Zera Adam, human seed, and the neshamas of Yah are called animal seed? It says who ki an neshamas Atzilus, because neshamas of Atzilus are gambir dotzon lamatom. Even while being down here below, they retain their Atzilus state. Therefore, Teva Harotzi Baaliyah Shebehemu Begilui, the nature of their rushing upwards and their elevation is in a state of revelation. That's why they're called Adam, because it says in the pasuk, it says in Keheles that the spirit of an Adam goes upwards, as opposed like we're still going to have the spirit of an animal draws downwards. So therefore, neshamas of Atzilus are called Adam because even down here below, they experience this ratzui to rush upwards, to pull upwards, because they have the nature of an Adam. But neshamas, the briyas hirasi, shem roiv, neshamas, the neshamas of Biyah, that these are the majority of neshamas. And the Rebbe brings in the footnote, which is almost all the neshamas of our generation are neshamas of Biyah. When they descend down there below, becoming clothed in the body, they are drawn after the body and matters of this physical world. Therefore, they're called an animal. Because the spirit of an animal is to descend down here below, which means that this nature of rising upwards, the nature of the fire that the neshama has to go upwards, is not evident, it's not manifest, it's not revealed. Therefore, we need to have Aaron HaKoyen. Therefore, we need to have Baha'alotch Haneres. Avoid of Aaron is top of page Zion, La'oirer, Ulagals, Teva, Arotzi, Va'aliyah, Sheyeshne, Gam, B'neshamas, Debri, Tzirasi, to awaken and to reveal that innate nature of rushing upwards and elevation, also in the Neshamas of Yah. That's what it says, that you will cause the natives to rise upwards, even though the nature of the candle should be anyway rising upwards, but it's not revealed. Aaron's job is to bring about that the nature of the elevation should be revealed. But the Roshim explained in the Mamorim that the reason why the elevation of the candles, the revelation of the nature of rushing upwards and the ascent of the neshamas, why the Aaron Dafka specifically through Aaron. Why is it Aaron specifically that does this, that awakens in the neshamas this ascent above? Because by Aaron it says, Kashem atoy al roish yerd al zakan al azokin zakan Aaron sheyerd b'midoisav. Like good oil upon the head, that it drips down upon the beard. And we're talking here the beard of Aaron that descends upon either his garments or his attributes, however we translate. But the main point is the Inyan Zakan Aaron hu hilchas HaTorah. The idea of the hair or the beard of Aaron is the halachas of the Torah. And therefore, Aaron, which has to do with the halachas of the Torah, Torah is the instrument by which we awaken and kindle the lights of the neshama. By Torah, through Torah, which Torah is the fire, the illumination. Mizgala umeir tava neshama. It becomes revealed and shines the nature of ascent of the neshama. That it's there even when it descends down, you're below and clothed in the body. That's what it says, you are not going is the one that raises up the candles. Therefore, because Aaron HaKohen has to do with Torah, and Torah is to kindle and raise up the candle. I just want to show you what it says over here on the side in the commentary, in the line 17. What's the connection between the beard and halachas of the Torah? So let's just read inside what he says in the explanation. So he says on line 17, on the right side of the page, and concerning the connection between the beard and Torah, that he said that because Aaron has the oil coming down the beard, and the beard has to do with halachas of Torah, therefore he could reveal by us this. Therefore, we'll put the Torah, explain what the Torah shazakin who mesiris sheyesh b'ma'at chayis ma'moyach. The beard is made up of hairs, that a hair has in it only a minuscule amount of life force of the brain. Because they have such a minimal life force, it's possible to cut the hair without feeling pain in the brain. Spiritually, what does this indicate? A hair is so far removed from the life force, or so far removed from the life force of the brain, that it's like a metaphor, like a mashal that's so far removed and encloses the idea that the mashal is meant to explain. And the life force and vitality, the minimal life force and vitality that's in the hair, is hukinimshal, is like the idea that the metaphor is trying to explain. So to the Torah is called the mashal, or Mishalach Kadmoini, the mashal of the early one. Kadmoini is going on Hashem because he's the first, he's preceded everything. And Torah is the mashal, that enclothing, that vessel that like contains the Eibishter. It's like a metaphor for Hashem. And the Hashem is the nimshal, the thing that's being explained and grasped through the mashal. Because through studying of Torah, we come to grasp Hashem, like the Alter Rebbe explains in Tanya, Perek Daled, Perek Hey, and so on. Okay, so we explain about Aaron's job. Why is it necessary for him to reveal the neshama that's in it, or in us, to elevate it? Is because it's concealed, and we said Aaron has this capability because he has the level of the oil that goes down the beard, the level of the halachas of Torah. Now he's going to go back to explaining what we had in the beginning. The Rebbe Marash brought the medrash about, if you guard my candle, which is Torah mitzvahs, then I will guard your candle, which is your neshama. So he says in line 12. On page Zayin, according to this, we can explain the connection between the statement of Achachamim Hamuv B'Maimer that's brought down the Maimer. Im shamartas neidi anim shameres nercham. If you guard my candle, so then I will guard your candle. The Rebbe Marash brought that medrash to help understand the idea of Ba'alois Chasaneres, because he wasn't just trying to bring a proof that Neres can go on the neshama. That you could have them the pasuk like the Alter Rebbe did. The Kinei Avayinish Masada. Rather, there's another point that the Rebbe Marash wants to bring out by bringing in this medrash. The idea that Hashem says, "I am guarding your candle." By guarding the candle that should not extinguish. That means that the candle, the neshama. The nature of the rushing and up and going upwards that the neshama has, should be revealed. That is the idea of Hashem saying, "I will guard your candle." In the simple reading of the Medrash, we're talking about very simple stuff. If a person wants to survive, live, thrive in the physical realm, Hashem has to guard our nefesh, make sure that our nefesh stays put in our body and functions and so on. And when does that happen? So Hashem says, if you guard my candle, if you guard the Torah mitzvahs, so then I will guard your candle. I will make sure that you will live well, your neshama will be in. But the way the Rebbe is explaining now It's a much more subtle and spiritual level. What does it mean when Hashem says, I will guard your candle? That means, though the candle of the neshama, being that it comes, most neshamas are from neshamas of Bia. Therefore, it could be that comes down here into this world, it becomes extinguished, it becomes not, there's no revelation of godliness in it. There's no desire and rotzi and aliyah l'maylam. So Hashem says, I am guarding your candle. I am making sure that the teva rotzi v'aliyah shelo yeh begilu, it'll be revealed. And what did we say beforehand? Well, when does that occur? If you guard my candle, which is Torah mitzvahs. The fact that Hashem guarding the candle of the neshama, that we should have an aliyah, we should have a desire, we should have a yearning to become part of Hashem, is through our guarding the candle. Well, it's similar to the idea that we said before, that it's specifically Aaron, the one that kindles our neshamas. Why is it Aaron's capability? Why Dafka Aaron is able to do so? Because Aaron has the level of the beard, the level of the halachas of the Torah, and because Torah urges, the Torah illuminates and causes the revelation of our neshama. So the same thing, that's what it says that Hashem said, if you guard my candle, which is the Torah, therefore I will guard your candle, I will make sure that you have the rotzi in the aliyah l'mayla. Okay, any questions before we go on to Isgim?
What is the significance again of the beard being easy to cut?
That's just to show how minimal the life force and vitality from the brain is in the beard.
I have a question.
The truth is, I don't know if that was so important over here to bring it in. I don't know why that point you said. Yes. What's your question?
My question is, we always say Torah Moshe. All of a sudden it's Torah Aaron. Tell you explain.
We know that there's a difference between Moshe and Aaron. It's a good question. But Moshe was a level of Milmaila Lamata. That's why it's called Sheshvina de Malchus, considered the escort of the king of the Eibishter. And Aaron is called Sheshvina de Maternisa. He escorts the queen, the Kala, the Yidden. So the very fact that we find even in teaching Torah, we know that both Aaron and Moshe were involved in the process to such a degree that it says in many things, it says that Hashem spoke to Moshe and to Aaron, and the Rashi says over there, it says Aaron before Moshe sometimes and Moshe before Aaron to show they were equal and so on. Because I would say there is a level of Torah, the way it's Torah's Moshe, it comes from above, but it doesn't necessarily touch us. Aaron, whose level is Sheshvina de Maternisa, being the escort of the queen, being the escort of the Kala, so his Torah and his function of Torah is to bring it to us to inspire our neshama.
Just a quick, comment, not a question, but perhaps we can say that that's the Rebbe Maharaj brought that expression in order to explain what the Alter Rebbe was saying, meaning the way for a neshama to really be considered a neshama is through being revealed through Torah, to be enlightened, to be alive.
Sure. Yeah. Correct. I would agree with that. Okay, further on page Zion, Ois Gimel, line 21. The Maimer that Marash from Tafish Chavtes continues. We need to understand. If that we say that if Hashem says, if you guard my candle, I will guard your candle. So the Rebbe Marash asks over there, what's the association in general? Hashem's candle with our candle. Even though based on what we learned before, we already started seeing the explanation. Torah is Torah, it illuminates what's in us. But in addition to that, the Rebbe Marash asks that not only are they associated with each other, but even more so, that they are dependent for Hashem Tluyim Zabazah, that the Yidden's candle is dependent upon the Torah's candle. Rebbe Marash continues in his Maimer to explain the Mavar, but he explains this according to what it says in the Medrash. In whose merit was created, and he quotes the pasuk, says, "These are the history of the heavens and the earth." So, and in whose merit do these, the heaven and the earth, continue standing? Not just they were originally created, but they're continually standing. It says the Medrash makes a play like a Gzeira Shavim. Eila Tolos Hashmayim Va'aretz is because of Eila Shmais B'nai Yisrael. It's Chus Eila Shmais B'nai Yisrael because it says these are the names of the B'nai Yisrael. So on the merit of Eila Shmais B'nai Yisrael, the Eila Tolos Hashmayim Va'aretz continue. And Ve'eila B'schus Miyayimdim, and the Eila of these of the Shmais B'nai Yisrael, in whose merit are the Yidden surviving and standing. The merit of these are the statutes, the laws, the decrees, etc. Meaning the Torah. So the play on the Eila 3 times is that the world exists because of the Yidden are existing because of the Torah. Which means, as he translates right now, that the intention of the creation of the world is for the sake of Yidden. And the perfection of the Yidden is through the Torah. Top of page Ches. Through the Yidden fulfilling their 613 mitzvahs, they ascend and go up higher than the level that they are on their own. And that means not just higher than what they are on their own in this world, but obviously also higher than what they were before they came down to this world. So, this is the reason why the neshama descends down here below and is enclosed in a physical body, just for the sake of fulfilling Torah mitzvahs. Then the neshama arises higher than it was before its descent. That's what it means. If you guard my candle, I will guard your candle. That the guarding of the candle of the neshama, meaning that the neshama reaches its elevation, the candle is the level of the ascent, that the whole reason why the neshama came down was to be able to have that ascent. That is through the guarding of the candle of the Torah, because that's the whole purpose that we descended down here below. According to what it says in the Maimer of the Reb Marash, the Indian Imshamartas Neiri and Imshamaras Neircha. The idea of if you guard my candle, I will guard your candle. That through fulfilling Torah mitzvahs, the neshama rises higher than the way it was before its descent. We could say so the fact that he connects this idea with kindling and raising up the candles. It's also about the ascent that occurs in the neshama higher than the way it was before its descent down here below, before the descent down here below. In other words, all over we know this idea, the neshama becomes elevated through Torah in such a way that it didn't have before. The pasuk Baha'alotcha Haneris, the way Chassidus brings down, when we learned the Maimer of the Torah, before we learned the Rebbe Marash Maimer, especially with the Rebbe's explanations, we say the neshama is never here in this body, therefore it doesn't feel this desire and yearning to go upwards. Comes Aaron HaKohen and goes ahead and kindles us and brings that fire upwards. Not necessarily would we say that the idea of what Aaron does, the Baha'alotcha Haneris, is about an aliyah that is greater than the aliyah that it was before. But by putting together the aliyah that Aaron HaKohen does with the Neshamas Yisrael, to the topic of Im Shamarta es Neira Anim Shamer es Neircha, that over there it's talking about the Yerida, the Latzoyrech Aliyah, that the Neshama gets an Aliyah even higher than it was that it ascended before. So from that, it helps us understand that the Baha'alotch Hasanedis that Aaron does is also such a type of Aliyah that's higher than the Aliyah or the level that it was before it descended down to below. We'll stop over here.